Hello and welcome to Neuroshambles, the podcast that aims to shine a light into some of the murkier corners of what it's like to parent neurodivergent kids. I'm Mark Allen, and every episode I'm going to be swapping stories with my guests about some of the frankly ludicrous nonsense we have to deal with on a daily basis. So, if you're anything like me and you're feeling frazzled, overwhelmed and pretty much an outcast from polite society, join me. Hello and welcome to episode 37 of Neuroshambles. As ever, it is a pleasure to welcome you aboard, you magnificent yet frazzled humans. I'm going to try and keep the intro brief because I got told off recently by one of my listeners who said that the whole thing is too long and can I just trim it down a bit to about half an hour so it will last his commute. I mean, I'll be honest, it's very unlikely that will ever happen because I like to witter on about stuff with my guests and I don't want to kind of keep things too brief because we need to navigate different conversational bridle ways, right? That's how these things work. But point taken, I'll try and speed it up where I can. And for now, I can speed this bit up by saying we've got a new guest, a great topic of the week, some Neurodiversity Champions, tiny epic wins, and what the flip moments. So let's go.
Meet the guest.
So this week's guest is someone who contacted me via the socials a while ago to share a little glimpse into her own neuroshambolic family. And when I read it, well, I thought I got a lot going on at my end, but hearing tales of her setup made me realise I've got it pretty easy, I reckon, by comparison. So when she offered to come onto the podcast for a chat, I jumped at the chance, obviously. So without further ado, I am delighted to be able to welcome aboard. It's Helen Stuart. How are you doing, Helen?
Hi, I'm as good as we get at the minute, thank you. I do believe I've adopted a Norwegian phrase that when they ask how are you doing, the response is, I'm up and not crying. So I'm up and not crying. It's amazing. It's so suitable.
Up and not crying. It's so, that is so appropriate. Thanks for introducing me to that. Tell me about the neuroshambles in your household, Helen.
So there are up to 7 of us who could be here at any one time. There are actually 8 of us.
Right.
So there's me, my husband Matt. We have 6 children between us. We're a blended family. Some of them are adults now. When we got married, I had the eldest 3 already. Mm-hmm. He had the next 2, and then we've had 1 together.
Right.
They have varying diagnoses and needs. There's only 1 that is undiagnosed, and we're absolutely certain that he's ADHD. But he's just never really cared because it didn't bother him enough, and we had enough strategies and knowledge in the house to just crack on with it.
I guess to mitigate some of the challenges he might be facing.
So we suspect that I'm probably autistic, ADHD and PDA.
Right, okay.
And that's only really come to light since having all of these children. My husband's on the pathway for diagnosis for autism and ADHD. And between our children, I made a list of all their letters that they have behind their names. It's amazing. So we have autism, ADD, ADHD, PTSD, Tourette's, PDA, ARFID. We're looking at PANS, also known as immune dysregulation, which presents as OCD at times. She can become, this is for Katie, our youngest, the one that we've had together, she's 7. She can become hysterical, inconsolable. She's the most complex.
Right, okay.
My next one, she's 20. So Elise is Katie's PA 6 hours a week. So she's PA for her younger sister. Mm-hmm. So although she has probably ADHD, she's definitely autistic. She has Tourette's and she struggles with anxiety.
Right.
But she's the one with the best fit and the best ability to help me with Katie. And Katie has such a strong relationship with her. It's amazing.
Awesome.
My 18-year-old has a great relationship with Katie also, but is hardly ever here. No, to be fair, he helps me when he's here, but he's just a busy guy. Then my stepchildren are 15 and 13, and obviously Katie's the youngest at 7. So it's quite a complex set, but it's our parenting is very dynamic, I think is the word.
That's an exceptional way of describing neurodivergent parenting. Dynamic and improvisational.
Yeah, it has to change according to the needs at the time.
Yeah.
So, if we're doing badly as parents, if Matt and I are just struggling and we're in a tough time, then we drop any thought of functioning. There's not a thing. We're just surviving.
Yeah.
And we might just survive for a while. Give it a little bit. Give it I don't know, a few hours, few days, few
Yeah.
weeks, maybe some months.
Up and not crying. That's the benchmark.
We'll be back later, business as usual in a bit. But we've both been burnt out.
Mhm.
And then, as if we've not got enough to do, we've decided to set up our own business. So now we're doing that as well. So, given Katie's home educated.
Why not? Why not add some more stress onto the mix?
Well, yeah, why? It's only a bit extra, isn't it? And now we can educate other people through the business about neurodiversity. It's fab. So, yeah, Katie comes along with us to business meetings and to presentations and to look at rooms and make decisions. And she's doing a bit of business studies in her home ed.
Nice. Get her working. They used to put them up chimneys. No, give them a PowerPoint and a spreadsheet and they're away. All right. Well, thank you for introducing your setup to us. There is a lot to discuss for this topic of the week. So let's get cracking.
What's the topic of the week?
So this week's topic of the week is another of those tasks that we have to undertake with our neurodivergent kids because it's unavoidable. And that is shopping. Because we all need to buy stuff, whether that's food or clothes or more fidget toys to add to the burgeoning collection. You can't escape the fact that at some point we're going to have to go into a shop with our kids, find what we want, pay for it, and get the hell out again as soon as possible. And obviously, whereas doing that with neurotypicals is no doubt relatively painless, I think the experience of doing it with overstimulated and dysregulated neurodivergence in tow is a chuffing nightmare, I think is the right description for that. So I thought it'd be good to pool our collective frustrations and dissect them for the amusement of others out there who are no doubt experiencing the same thing as us. So firstly, I'll start by saying that we don't go shopping for enjoyment with our kids, do we? It's not like a pastime that we choose. It's because I understand that for neurotypical families, that is something that they do. They might like to think they'll go and spend an afternoon at Westfields or Blue Water or any of the other mammoth shopping centres out there. They'll browse shops at their leisure and maybe get a bite to eat. It's like, I can't think of anything worse.
I used to do that once upon a time. I was a single parent for a little while to my oldest 3 children. And I used to take them shopping. We'd have a great time.
Okay.
We'd just browse. We'd have fun. It was wonderful. They were all well up
So
for that.
you went, but you used to go shopping with them and it was fine.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was enjoyable.
It was fun. We loved it.
Great.
Not with
That
Katie.
sounds wonderful. And this is the interesting thing, right? Because I think there are some neurodivergent kids. So like with my lot, really, Otto I could do that with to a degree. Jay, absolutely no way. Like a hard no. Maybe it's a PDA thing. I think it's a sensory thing. I'm not sure, but I think there's definitely an element of overwhelm there. And it depends where they are at that point in time, but also it depends on their profile and whether they have particularly sensory needs and that side of things. So it is on a case-by-case basis.
Definitely. I mean, with Katie, it's just the case that shopping is not an event for Katie. It isn't something she should ever do. It's not really suitable. However, as you've said, sometimes just occasionally don't have a choice. And we've got a lot of experience of trying it before we've come to this realisation that it's not the thing for her. She has 2-to-1 care at the moment quite a lot. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. But especially if we have to go shopping. So I was explaining to her today that when we go shopping, like I need another adult with me because I need to support her. And if she is in a moment where she needs all of my support, then it's likely that I need another adult for some support for me.
Yeah.
And then my 18-year-old son Scott pipes up when parenting becomes a pyramid scheme. It's ridiculous, but it's true.
But that's the thing, right? If you've got access to that extra adult, can't they just go and do the shopping for you? You just stay at home.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? But then she gets wind of it, and then she's like, "But you're buying it for me, and I want to be there, and I want to come, and I want blah 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 blah."
You can't win, can you?
No, because you have a meltdown if you go because it's too much and it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But you have a meltdown if you stay at home because she wanted to go.
Oh, so she actually does want to go, because this is the thing with Jay. If you say, right, we're going shopping, do you want to come? He's like, absolutely not. And sometimes we have to, because again, I'm a solo parent, so I have to, we have to move as a pack, right, a lot of the time. So that's when it becomes a bit stickier, unless I can arrange for someone else to be in the house while we're doing that. But you're saying that Katie actually wants to go, but just hates it.
Can't handle it.
Right. So does she not realise that she can't handle it? As in, does she sort of forget that every time it's a shit show?
Yeah. She's like, she doesn't even realise at the time, because that's such a, I hate to say it, it's such a normal state for her at the moment to be. And
Okay.
I've been for a long time, to be that dysregulated that frequently. And whilst, we've good days and bad days, at the moment, most days are a bad day for her. But because she's so often in that overwhelmed, upset, overcooked state and screaming, crying, not knowing what to do with herself, she doesn't really kind of twig that it's the shopping that's overwhelmed her to put her in that position, because she can get that overwhelmed at home.
Okay, so it's not, so the overwhelm isn't actually the variable.
No, the variable there is, do I want to deal with that at home, or do I want to deal with it somewhere away from home where I've not got all of the stuff that I need
with an
to help
audience?
me handle? The audience can do what they like. I mean, I know you've said a few times, haven't you, that you're bothered by the audience. For me, if the audience wants to watch, whatever. I don't care. I'm beyond it.
Yeah.
Absolutely beyond it.
That's a very healthy position to be in. I wish I was. I'm getting there. I'm getting there slowly.
I don't know though whether I have some sort of RBF about me when I'm shopping, because nobody ever really comments or approaches with any kind of complaint about noise or all these things other parents say, and I'm like, are people really that rude to you in public? Like, people don't do it to me. Do I just look that scary? Like,
Probably.
Maybe I'm just oblivious to it.
Yeah, do you just zone it out? And maybe, you're just kind of hyper focused on the situation, I guess. So as we've discussed, we don't go shopping for enjoyment or for us with the kids. It's much more that functional type of shopping that we're talking about here. So the one that I really wanted to focus in on is supermarkets, because supermarkets can be uniquely overwhelming for our kids. So any of my guests I think I've ever spoken to about their kids having a meltdown in public or being overwhelmed in public, the common theme is always supermarkets. It's usually like in the aisle of a supermarket where people are judging you and are making comments and stuff like that. I think there is something uniquely triggering about supermarkets, which I'm curious about. I will caveat that by saying that my kids, although they don't like it and we are completely disruptive and unruly, there's never been like a proper meltdown that you would sort of recognise as a meltdown.
You're missing out, Mark. You're really missing out. Honestly, Katie, you'll show them how it's done.
It manifests itself in sort of defiant behaviour and rudeness with Jay, and frustration and emotional shutdown with India, and Otto sort of crying and needing to get the hell out. So there is that level of overwhelm, but it's not like completely boiled over to that degree, I guess. Is that something that you get with Katie?
Yeah, I mean, supermarkets for me just have a great big nope. Just avoid. I hate it.
What is it about supermarkets then? What is it? I mean,
partly it's like there's a massive sensory element. You're in each aisle, although it's a big shop, each aisle is fairly enclosed. And if you're crossing people, you're constantly coming across people walking the other way. Or
Yeah.
There's trolleys everywhere, and there's people, and there's noise, and the fridges and the freezers are noisy.
And strip lights, I guess, as well, because it's very harsh lighting.
Yeah, and the smells when you go down a different aisle, it smells different than the previous one did.
Because I've never thought of it like this at all. Like, obviously, as a suspected neurotypical, my sensory awareness is probably quite dulled compared to a lot of neurodivergence, right? So I've never considered that. But also, I presume just the number of things to look at. Like on every shelf, the vast amount of different... It must be completely overwhelming.
We tend to try to get deliveries once a month at the beginning of the month to avoid going as much as we possibly can. So we have a big freezer in my shed, like a big stand-up tall, just a freezer.
Yeah.
I fill it at the beginning of the month, and we order from Tesco, which It's a bit of a pain in some ways because price-wise, you're a bit scuppered. It's more expensive than the other places that we
Yeah,
go to.
yeah.
But it mostly ensures that we can stock up on a safe foods. We allow no substitutions. I've got substitutions.
Oh, you can
term.
actually, yeah, I didn't
Oh,
realise
yeah,
that the other day. You could say, hell no, do not. I'd rather not get anything.
never substitute anything because I'm not kidding. If you put baby bells in instead of cheese strings, I'll kill you because otherwise she's getting to me first.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so we stock up with like a Jubblies, specific pizzas, Southern Fried Chicken, Alpha Bites, Pea, Sweet Corn. It's all out there.
So all the safe foods are so important. This is something I discussed with.
The right ice cream,
Oh God,
get
yeah,
the right
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and then we usually top up at the small Sainsbury's near to home or the small co-op near to home. Just in our village, we live in a fairly sizable village,
Yeah.
but we have the little shops here, and we have a Lidl as well. Either that, or if we don't top up at Sainsbury's, I just ask someone else to go, even if it's my friend. I'm just like, well, I just can't face it with her.
Yeah, we do similar. So
Yeah.
we do a regular delivery because we don't need
Yeah.
that. I will pay the delivery fee to not spend an hour and a half going because it's a massive shop. I mean, yours must be insanely big because you've got a much bigger family, but mine's pretty sizable, and I don't want to be taking all of my lot like through the supermarket if I can help it.
And the amount of impulse buys you end up with kids that just don't want to melt down. Kind of, yes, you
Yes,
put
have
it in the
it.
trolley.
Yeah.
Yes, of course you can. It's like 600, just put it in the trolley.
And then you get to the checkout. It's like, I've got 4 pinatas in here. What did I agree to?
Yeah, all of that. But there's people. A kid does not do well with people.
Yeah.
People
Okay.
she doesn't know. People are unpredictable,
Yeah.
and she needs predictability. She needs stability. She needs to feel safe. She doesn't feel safe a lot of the time, and that's part of her problem. Is that she feels unsafe
Yes.
a lot of the time. Whether she's in bed at night, it stops her sleeping. If she's out shopping, there are people. They're unpredictable. She doesn't know if they're going to speak to her. Are they going to touch her? They might brush past her. They might look at her. They might smile at her.
Yeah.
They might speak to her, or heaven forbid, they might ask her a question.
Because people like children, don't they? They don't. I mean, they just don't. They just don't like our children.
And my other kids, they'd have been sorry they asked my other kids a question because they'd be following her down the aisles, answering it forevermore, and I'd get my shopping done in peace. Whereas with this one, oh heavens alive, no, just no.
Yeah.
Especially when she's unconventionally dressed, shall we say?
Okay, so are you talking about like onesie or Udi or
Udi, maybe she's wearing a summer dress in November with no coat.
Yeah.
Maybe she's wearing a winter coat in September. Maybe she's got no footwear on at all. But people comment and they'll say, "Oh, is she not a bit cold?" Or she might be that she's got the summer dress on in November, and then she's got my cloak wrapped round her, which is like dragging on the floor, and then they're commenting about that and what character they think she looks like, and she's not interested. She doesn't want you to speak to her. Leave her alone. But now I've got to shop with this child who's done and panicking because you've said, that's a really cute top you've got on.
I know, and just to be clear, people are not meaning it. But yeah, they're being nice and they're being polite, and it's meant with good intentions. But you can't predict that, and you can't control that. So then it sets off this sort of dysregulation.
And then you spend the next 2 minutes where you should be trying to pick a bag of carrots and get all your veg in the trolley and get your potatoes and blah 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 and be done in the veg section. But no, she's too busy asking, why did that lady speak to you, mummy? Why did she feel that she needed to comment on my top? Why did she like the bunny on my top, mummy? Just on and on, and I'm just like, for pity's sake, like, can I go home?
And this is just the top-up shop, right? Can you imagine if this was the big shop?
Yeah, can you imagine? And I deliberately go to Lidl, very occasionally Aldi, mostly try and go, well, no, I can't try and go without her because she won't stay at home without me. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare to juggle. But if I do end up in like Lidl, it's such a small shop.
Right.
There are less aisles. We have got less gauntlets to run. It's just not going to take us as long, and we've less chance of getting stuck. Because this is the other thing with Katie. When she hits overwhelm, feels like she can't take any more, she becomes stuck. So like fight, flight, freeze mode, she'll just freeze.
Okay, yeah.
On the spot. Maybe she'll shout and scream. Maybe she won't. Maybe she'll become non-verbal.
Right.
Maybe she won't. Maybe she'll sit down on the floor for 20 minutes. Maybe she won't. So we don't really know.
So you don't know what you're getting every time.
No. And that can be, we can be stuck anywhere. We could be stuck in the car outside the shop waiting to go in. We could be stuck in the foyer, in the shop itself. She could be stuck somewhere really random, or in the car park, or sat in the car unable to put a seatbelt on afterwards because she, there've been too many demands. We've had one too many, and now we can't negotiate anything.
And it's this unpredictability because you're out
Yeah.
because there are so many potential variables that are gonna set off this overwhelm. And it's similar to ours because sometimes you might go on a day and you don't really think about it, and it's like, oh shit, it's like a really nice weekend and everyone wants to get a barbecue this weekend. And suddenly it's absolutely rammed, and you're like, well, I'm committed now. We're here. We've got us all out the house, and we're just gonna have to strap in and do this. Then you end up, or I end up, just having to improvise games about, let's guess how much this shop's gonna be worth, and like that buys me about a minute. Or trying to just make shit up on the spot to try and keep them entertained so that they're not thinking about the fact they're queuing. I think queuing's quite a big thing. Is that the same with Katie?
It's not the worst part of shopping, I have to say.
Okay.
By the time I get to the queue, she's trying to work out at what point we get things out, or she's saying, can I go and look at the magazines there? And I'm like, oh crap, the magazines are £6 each. Do we have to?
You can look at it, just we're not buying it. So, it's like a library. You crack on, love.
Yeah, but she gets emotionally attached to random items, and then she'll hit that freeze response because she doesn't know why she has to have it, but she has to have it. We had an incident once with that in Morrison's.
Right.
She wanted this cup with Elsa, from Frozen. Elsa was on this cup with a straw inside it, and she loved this cup and she wanted it. And I said, no, you've got enough cups at home. Forgetting I was dealing with a PDA, forgetting this wasn't your everyday kind of run-of-the-mill child. No, this is Katie. And she had this massive, massive meltdown. Lasted 45 minutes.
Oh, wowzers.
Why the hell was I still insisting she couldn't have this bottle? Like, it was just drinks.
You know what you need to do? You need to let it go.
Well, she couldn't hold it back anymore.
Maybe that's playing into your PDA as well, though, right? Do you not think that there's like two PDAs locking horns and going, well, I've got a bit more willpower than you? And
Absolutely. Until my husband, who doesn't have PDA and just wants to get the heck out of there, is like, how much was that cup, Helen? £3. £3. We have enjoyed this for £3. I am going back in that shop because by now we've managed somehow to negotiate the shop with her wailing the whole way around. I think we just went to the tills and paid. Came out and she's still sat outside. We've been outside the shop like 30 minutes by now.
Yeah,
She's had 15 minutes screaming inside, 30 minutes screaming outside. No sign of this going away. She's stuck. She can't move if we try and pick her up.
Yeah.
She kicks, hits and bites because she's in fight mode as well. So she'll freeze, but then if you come near her, she'll fight. And then you run the risk of her getting up and running, although she won't leave me. She might just try and run and forget herself, but run out into the car park.
Yeah,
so for this reason, we know I've got a blue badge as well to keep her safe. But yeah, he was just like, I'm going buying the bloody cup. For pity's sake, what is this? I could have saved myself 45 minutes and a load of trauma.
I know, but this is one of those ones where you're sort of like, maybe it's a learn.
Maybe
we need to set some boundaries, and then it's like, oh, dude, I'm like, when you do that sometimes, I do that in the house sometimes, and you set a boundary, you go, I fucking wish I hadn't have done that because I now have to.
Sometimes I just back down and go, do you know what? I don't care about it enough for this. I don't actually care enough.
Yeah.
It's okay, we can do it this way. But no, that day it took Matt to step in, and I know that when she's in that state, like, she's triggered. Her brain thinks she's about to be eaten by a bear.
Yeah.
Because with PDA, with the anxiety there, the brain kind of, I don't know if you find this with Jay, but her brain definitely will not tell her the difference and cannot tell her the difference between me saying no to a cup and her getting pushed off a cliff.
Yeah, it's a nervous system response. It's their nervous system's triggered. It's like I think of it like a pufferfish, basically. They're off, and then there's
So there's no talking her down. There's no reasonable discussion. There's no just letting this play out and it'll run out of steam. It won't.
Yeah.
It never has. Why outside Morrison's did I think it would?
Because you were triggered as well, Helen.
Honestly, we do these things, don't we? And yeah, these are the kind of things that make me think we should never go shopping. Never. Because it starts with leaving the house, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of demands for a
Well,
PDA or
that's the
about
thing.
getting
If you
into the
think
house.
about it, right, if you think about every time, we talked about earlier about the noise and the lights and the number of people and the small aisles and all of that, like jostling and being spoken to. So before they even go, they're already a bit on edge, right?
Anxious.
So before you even get in there, there's a level that, that their glass is already pretty full.
Yeah.
So then when you start to encounter these other things like, people talking to you, or like there being more people than you expected,
Or the thing you wanted not being on the shelf.
the thing you wanted not being on the shelf, or the worst one. I go every Saturday. I have the kids, and it's the little top-up shop. I make it as fun as possible, and we do it regularly now. It's fine if everything is expected, but
Yes.
if there's a curveball, it becomes a much bigger problem. And the one I had recently, which I'd not thought about, was sometimes a supermarket that you've been going to for years just decides, you know what, fuck it, we'll rearrange everything. We're going to move everything about.
That's something I wanted to say to you, because our local Sainsbury's, where I do my top-up shop, moved everything, and it took them about 3 weeks. And I went in and I was like, oh no. And I had to speak to the manager after like 2.5 weeks. I went and spoke to the manager and I just
About
said,
what? Put everything back. Can you go back to like 3 weeks ago?
are you nearly done? He was like, yeah, I've just got the fridges to do.
Oh, so this was an ongoing refurbishment. Oh, okay.
Yeah, just got the fridges to do, and it'll be finished by the end of this week. This is my final run on it. I was like, oh, thank you so much for letting me know. I said, I've got autistic children, and I've got a little girl who cannot handle change, so I don't want to bring her in a bit at a time, and then there's a different change the next time, another one the next time. I need to wait until you've finished and bring her for the whole lot. But now, after the refurb, they don't even stock half of the same things.
Oh, man.
But the permanent change.
Because ours was just like this. They did it just overnight, seemingly, as well, without warning. So we have a thing where, you have a routine in a supermarket. I think routine is important for our kids. We know what, because then you know where you are in the process. So we start off getting the bread, right? And India will like make a beeline for the bread, and me and Otto are a little bit slower, and we catch up with her and she's just frozen in the middle of this section, just like a look of panic on her face. And I realised that they'd completely redone the bread section. But the thing is, right, the bread that we normally get was only about 3 meters away. They hadn't like moved it to the other side of the store. It was still the bread section.
The expectation was broken, the shop was broken, the trip was broken.
And also because you gamify, or because I gamify the whole thing, the game that we play is that she's got to get the tongues and get the bread out of the little, it's the little individual ones. And that wasn't available. So she was just really frustrated. And again, she goes situationally mute at that point and is just consumed with frustration. And it had to really kind of talk her down from that one. It's like, it's just behind you. Look, it's only over there. And look, we can still do the game. But it was, it really threw her. It's those curveballs that you don't expect, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And I just think, for me, shopping, it's like a trolley dash, but one where you can't remember what you need. If you've made a list, you can't get opportunity to read it, while a small person darts unpredictably around the shop, right, bumping into people, risking knocking displays over, while becoming attached emotionally to random items that we can't possibly leave the shop without.
You know what I'd like to see? You remember Supermarket Sweep?
Dale Winton.
Yeah. I'd love to see a version of that where they have neurodivergent kids with them.
Yes.
You've got to go as quick as you can. You basically got to get your PDA on board to get all the way around before 2 minutes is up.
Yeah, but they've got to have those centre aisles that Aldi and Lidl have.
Oh, God, like so distracting.
Or whatever it is, Best Buys or whatever it is at Aldi. Because we always come home with like 8 plant pots, a book about sheep, and a packet of weird spices we'll never use, but she needs it because it's got a cute duck on the packaging. It's not worth the half-hour negotiation over the 89p it was for that.
No,
do you know what I mean?
No, it's not.
So Dale could have some really, really interesting stuff.
You've got to work out what strategies are going to help to get you through this. And I've got a few that I use. One is to get them involved. So you're not just dragging them along. So they insist on taking it in turns doing the trolley. Now, They are not safe with the trolley, but do you know what? I just let them do it. I am, I sort of make sure I clear the way, and I'm deeply apologetic to anyone that they inconvenience, but it definitely helps because they do take it very seriously. It is, like Otto is so anxiety led that it's like he's pushing around uranium or something. The way he's like how slowly he progresses through the aisles and how carefully he does it. So it's like he's pushing an explosive device around and he's trying
that makes your shot take 3 times as long.
It does.
Whereas if you give it to Jay, it's like he's playing Skittles with other people with his trolley.
Yeah. It's a fine line, but we have to do it fairly. So each time I have to remember who did the last one, so that it's this time, right? So they do it, and I also give someone the list to read through, which helps. Again, they can read the shopping list out. But also the thing that was a game changer for us, and I think Tam found this out earlier than me, was give them things to find. So again, like supermarket sweep, just go, we need some breadsticks. Go find some breadsticks, and then they just
you let them loose.
Fuck off. They are just like
heaven.
You are flying by the seat of your pants. Like seriously, I'm aware of this, and I'm aware to everyone else I look like a very shit parent because my kids are just like, then they're off. They're running off.
But it's fun, right? And you get 2 minutes peace.
Well, for them, they love it. For me, who knows what's going to come back? That could be anything.
But also, in that 30 seconds they've gone to look for something, you can get the next 6 items off the list.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. And if I've got Otto on trolley duty, because he wouldn't dash off without me. He'd need to be with me. Whereas India and Jay both suspected PDA, so I think there's a thing there. It's about that independence, isn't it? It's about being a grown up as well.
Autonomy.
Yeah, so they will then just like dart off and go find something. Jay will always, for whatever reason, because he never looks at the price of things, he will always instinctively choose the most expensive one. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's good. I mean, he's got good taste, I guess. India, the frustrating thing with India is that she insists on me not helping. Right, which is fine, but if I see that she's running off in the opposite direction to the thing that she needs, I've tried before going, it's that way, and then she gets absolutely furious because I'm helping, and she wanted to do this on her own, and like we might have been right next to it. Do you know what I mean? It's like go and get some yogurts, and we're literally by the yogurts. You can't point it out, so I'm sort of, and Otto's there going, but it's just there, Daddy. It's like, yeah, I know, I know. You can't.
Like, don't tell her.
You can't do anything, and yeah, I've had this before where she's been running around for ages trying to find something, and something that you're hoping is going to be quick then turns into this massive mission, and you just sort of like, just trying to gesture with your head, maybe it's over here, and like hope that she doesn't realise that I'm subliminally trying to suggest where she looks.
Nightmare. Do you know my biggest mistake? Lidl. Right, it's all Lidl's fault. Yep. Lidl have these little tiny children's trolleys.
Oh yeah, okay.
And once I said, go on then. We don't need a big trolley anyway. We're only here for 2 things. Let's put them in your trolley and we can manage it together.
Okay.
Am I totally stupid? Well, I mean, yes, we can never go in Lidl now without one of those small trolleys.
Oh, okay.
Complete liability. Honestly, she's just a liability. She's everywhere. Everyone in the shop knows where I am because all you can hear is, there's a man behind you. Oh, I'm just concerned that shelf's quite close to you. I can't see you to keep you safe when you go around the corner without me.
Yeah.
Jeez, is it just behind you?
Yeah, there's a lack of awareness of the general public. I think India has this as well, is that she'll park the trolley across the aisle so no one can get through. But again, suggesting that she might want to move it out the way so people can get through, then triggers her, I can do this on my own.
Yeah. And then by this time, I've no idea what I'm buying by now. I'm just lobbing things in the trolley as I go, hoping we can make some meals out of it, going, we always buy that, we need that. I get home, there's already 8 tins of chopped tomatoes in the cupboard, but about another 12.
Aren't we teaching them life skills? Aren't we at some level teaching them life skills?
I don't think that mine is learning life skills. I think mine's just running riot in the shop. I think what she's teaching us is that she needs to be taught how to do online shopping. Or
that is the life skill.
For her.
You're right.
Really? That's it, really. Or she needs to find herself a group of friends that take pity on her and go, "Hey, Katie, I'm doing my shopping tomorrow. Do you need help?" Yes, you do. You need bread, you need milk, you need cheese, you need eggs.
Yeah.
Done.
So just navigating your way around the supermarket is stressful because of the
Oh,
other
yeah.
people and the fact that they, like Otto, picks everything up. Literally, I'll be going, don't touch anything with your hands. You point to stuff, don't pick anything up. And he literally, I say that, and it's straight away he just picks something up. He can't help it. His ADHD is so strong. He's so impulsive that if he
Yeah.
sees something he's interested in, he picks it up straight
But
away, and it's
that's
there.
it.
And it's just like, and to a degree, that's on me. I shouldn't be saying that. You know, what's wrong with him picking
No.
up something? You know, I'm just a bit nervous when it's like a big glass jar of olives or whatever. And he's
I was
like,
about to say a 900-gram jar of olives from the top shelf.
for whatever reason, olives strike me with fear.
Read what's on the back of that jar. Give it to me a moment while I just look.
But broadly, I think I should. Yeah, it should be okay. But and I think really from my perspective, we are very performative shoppers. We are very loud, but I make a bit of a joke out of it. It's not, do you know what I mean? I can keep it humorous to a degree because it makes it more fun for them. And part of me is just like trying to make it less annoying for other people by at least it's like dinner theatre, isn't it? It's like shopping
Shopping
theatre.
theatre, yeah.
There's the thing. I start charging them afterwards. It'll pay for Jay's overly expensive pain au chocolat. But once you've got everything, right? Then oh god.
Oh, it's not done, is it?
Then
It's
it's
not
the
done.
checkout. You got to get to the checkout. You got to navigate that, and then you've got a choice to make, right? Do you do self checkout, or do you go? It depends. I think it depends on how much you've got, right? Do you go self checkout, or do you go actual human person checkout?
If you've bought meds or alcohol, never, ever, ever go to the self-checkout because then it red lights you and then you've got to wait for a person to come and speak to you.
Yeah, I know. I do this, but to be honest, I sort of catch their eye really early on. When I'm in the queue, I'm like, where are they? You know, like you just go like hyper aware of where they are at the time, and then before you go over, you sort of wave your bottle of wine or whatever.
She's so used to there being a conveyor belt that, like in our Lidl, they don't have self-checkouts anyway. They do in Sainsbury's because it's such a small Sainsbury's local. It's a lovely little shop. But it's always the same people serving because it's village shop, which is really nice.
So they know you now then?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and actually they were...
In a good way? I don't think, do they like, when you start approaching, they put the checkout close sign up, go, sorry, I'm just about to finish. So you'll always choose actual human person?
Because it's a conveyor belt and Katie likes to help unload stuff.
Okay.
And at a self-checkout, that's much harder.
Yeah.
It's easy to contain her with a whole
I get
conveyor
that.
belt.
See, but then you've got to weigh up the benefit of giving them a thing to do and putting it on the conveyor belt and the fun of the conveyor belt, that side of things, against the disadvantage of having to speak to an actual human person who...
Well, she doesn't have to speak to them.
But always with my kids, because they're quite eccentric, my kids, but they're quite fun. People like to talk to them. For some reason, they always want to have a little chat with them. And then like Otto just like eyes down, shrugs and just is not on board. And India very similarly will not. So they don't react in the way that they would expect other children to react. So sometimes it's not really worth it for me.
Katie mostly blanks them. If the people at the checkout try to speak to her, mostly she'll blank them. And then I immediately have this phrase that I'll say, yeah, sometimes we have words and sometimes we don't. And either way is okay.
Yeah, good. That's nice. That's a nice way of putting it. Do you say that to you're talking to the other people? You're like training them? Yeah, good. Yeah. That's nice.
And I look at Katie and give her a smile. And she'll just run off and start climbing on the nearest thing.
No, I always go for the checkout because they like, again, part of this, giving them a job to do, giving them a little bit of autonomy.
Oh, you don't let them scan it as well.
Yeah, nice. I do. And then that is where...
awfulness.
Yeah, it is. But again, what I'm saying is this is the top-up shop. So we're not talking a massive amount of items in this. And it's India more than Otto or Jay that wants to do it. Like India's the one that insists.
And Katie does it in Sainsbury's.
Otto generally wants to get out as soon as humanly possible. Like he doesn't like it. So, it is frustrating because you have to balance their needs. So as soon as we walk in and Otto's overwhelmed, he wants to leave straight away. If I've given Inda an item to get and she can't find it and she's running off, I can't help her because she'll get frustrated if I help her. And I also can't leave straight away, which is what Otto wants and Jay wants. Like, so I can't win. I'm in a no-win situation. And it's all because I didn't get enough flour for the weekend.
You went shopping. What were you doing?
What was I thinking?
As soon as you said you go shopping every Saturday when it's your weekend, I was like, what the hell do you do that for?
I don't know.
Shopping on the other days. You go shopping without them because otherwise all of this, and you're tired by the time you go home. You need a nap.
Yeah, I know, but it's we've got to this happy chaos stage, and that's fine. I think I'm all right with that.
Fair enough. If it works, then it used to work. It used to work with my first three.
Yeah. Okay. But also, Katie's a bit younger, and she may well evolve into someone who is more able to do that kind of thing. I've seen Jay evolve a lot lately, actually.
I like Pokemon.
Yeah, that's why I use the word evolve, because it is like he's obsessed with Pokemon and it helps me. I've actually used that terminology with him recently and it kind of helped.
Yeah, well, I try not to look too much to the future because it could be too upsetting. It could go either way, and I don't want to assume which way it's going to go. And I don't want to think too hard about that. I deal with the here and now at the minute.
Yeah.
As she starts doing better, it gives me hope for the future, and then I'll look forward because I've got things to give me hope to look forward with.
Yeah. I think that's it, day by day. Just take it day by day, Helen.
Yeah.
So obviously you've done your checkout, and then you're in the clear, right? Just get in the car and go home, right?
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? You'd think, but then you've got doors to manage, which we've had to do on the way in as well. We missed that bit at the beginning. But we've got doors to manage.
Right.
It's easier going out than it was coming in. However, she has to open doors herself. But at supermarkets...
When you mean like swing doors or automatic doors?
Any doors. Any doors.
Okay.
Doors. She can't walk through a door if someone else has opened it for her. That's the end of that.
Right, okay.
So because it's all automatic doors at the supermarkets, and it's triggered us when someone walks towards it, if she's not the one who's walked towards it and triggered it, she cannot go through it. So she will stand back and wait until the doors close fully.
Yeah.
Give it a second and then step forward.
Right.
Quite often she's not quick enough, so someone else, this is a busy shop, this is Lidl in the village. People are walking through, they're either walking in or they're walking out.
Is she kind of patiently waiting, or is she getting gradually more and more pissed
she's
off?
Non-verbal with a face like
with rage.
thunder.
She's rage waiting.
She's rage waiting, but it's all building up inside, and she's trying to keep a lid on it, bless her, because we've talked about this a lot, how it works.
Yeah.
And I've said, I'm patient, I can wait for you. It's not about, I'll wait as long as it takes. But then once you've got through the first set of doors, do you know how many shops have an initial foyer where you go through the first set of double doors, right? And then you're in the foyer, and then you have to go through another set to get into the shop.
And does she have to get through both in one movement, or does she? Once you pass the first set, that's in the bag, and then you have to wait for the second set.
Yeah, that's in the bag once you're in.
Okay, well at least there's that. But
once you're in, where they keep the little trolleys. So we've got to get the little trolley then. So then we can go and trigger the next door. But I've known it take us 20 minutes to get into a supermarket.
And then you're getting pissed off with people. It's like, can we not just wait? Let the child through.
But if there's not automatic doors, right? If you see a kid behind you walking in front of their mum, going to come into a shop, and you've got a manual door and you've gone through it, what do you automatically do?
You hold it open, right? Yeah, because to not do that would be incredibly rude for a neurotypical.
Yeah, and she steps back and she steps into the trolley I'm pushing, and she knocks things flying, and the people behind me have to do like a brake check, an emergency stop behind me, and the whole thing piles up, and then the doors behind me close on someone, but no, we've got to back up, and then I have to say to the person, thank you, but she's fiercely independent and likes to open the doors for herself.
I love it. So, and they're usually fine with that, I'm guessing.
Yeah. People generally laugh and go,
because it's funny, right? Because you're making a joke out of it, and but even so, it's just like it's not a joke. No,
it's not a joke. But I'm normalising this for my child and making her feel like it's okay to be like this.
Yeah.
Even if it's hard. And then, of course, you've got to take the trolley back once you've put everything in in the car, haven't you? So
Oh,
you
there's
get
that
out
as
the door, you
well.
get to the car. She's climbed in by now while I've put the stuff in the boot, but she's already transitioned into the car. She doesn't want to get out to come and take the trolley back with me.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not allowed to walk away.
But for her, from her perspective, you know, she's done, right?
Yeah.
She's completed a very difficult challenge for her. So
And
it's like,
she's still got to face the trauma of sitting down on the seat, staying sat down on a bum and putting the seatbelt on and keeping it on till we get home.
yeah.
And if I've forgotten to take the tablet, woe betide us that she can't watch that to regulate on the way home.
And this is, yeah.
This is why we do not go. Shopping is not the one.
Yeah.
It's not the one.
Yeah.
It's not my favourite thing.
So obviously that's just your normal everyday food shop, right? The other challenge that we have with neurodivergent kids, and again, it's one that you sort of have to do in person, I think, given the nature of our kids' needs, certainly my lot, clothes shopping. Which is, oh my God. Because I'll start by saying that Otto will wear anything. Whatever we choose for him, he doesn't give a hoot. He'll wear it. That's fine. Not a problem. And I think that is true of most neurotypical kids. You know, like I was like that when I was a kid. You know, my parents at that age, 7, 8, 9, just went, you know, got some clothes here. Fine. But yeah, I'll put them on. Not a problem.
Wow.
I don't have any sensory issues around that. Otto doesn't really have any sensory issues in terms of how clothing feels, how tight it is, how loose it is, because, you know, I think just because of his profile, right? It's not a thing. However, with Jay and India, it's a huge thing. Like the way that clothes feel, not how they look, how they feel.
It doesn't feel right.
Is really important.
Right.
So that means you can't do that online. I've tried it before. I've ordered stuff online and it's turned up and Jay has just taken one look at it. He's not even touched it. He's just looked at it and gone, no, that's it. No, too scratchy. How do you know you haven't touched it? No. Okay. He's flat out rejected without even trying it on. And this has happened countless times. So obviously with shopping online, things look fine on the screen on Amazon, right? They look fine, but it's a lottery. You don't know what you're getting off the back of that. And then when it comes through and then they reject it for like just the tiniest of reasons. And you end up having to send stuff back. And when you return something on Amazon, you have to give a reason. Right? It says, why are you returning this? Right?
Autistic child, tick.
None of those reasons are like, nah, it gives my kid the ick. I don't know. Like... There's a lot of different reasons, but none of them are like, I have a neurodivergent child and there is something unforeseeably disagreeable about it. That's all I've got. So, yeah, you have to just put not as described or...
Not as described yet.
Basically, is the one. Not as described. Just take it. Just take it back.
Not as anticipated in my child's head.
You know, I feel sorry for the poor seller who gets it back. It's not as described. I mean, it's literally exactly as described. It's a fucking t-shirt with a picture of a frog on it.
Katie's got a little PDA friend that, you know, she's lovely. We get on great with her. But when we went round there last, her mum had bought her this doll for, I don't know, Christmas, I think it was, but shown her beforehand, as you do, because no surprises. But this doll was just wrong.
Yeah.
It was the one she'd wanted. It was exactly right in its box. But when it came, its face was wrong. So the doll had to go back. Back went the doll. Its
face was wrong, dude. It's so harsh. It's so harsh. You can't. What can you do? It's like everything's like yes or no, isn't it? It's not like you know, I'll live with it. That's never.
There's no grey area. No.
Footwear is the other one as well. I know what size he is, but some shoes, that size varies in a tiny amount. So you have to try and get them to try the shoes on, because if you order them online and they come and they're a tiny bit tight, either you've got to go through the massive faff of returning them, which is a huge ball ache of, like, you know, having to arrange for the return label and then find time to go to the post office and just what's the worst option? Is it going through all of that rigmarole of finding the shoes, getting them delivered, going through the process of them not fitting, then doing the return? Or is it just encouraging them to try and go to a shoe shop for like an hour?
Online.
Yeah, online. Do you do it online?
Yeah. So sometimes what I do is I go to TK Maxx and I have a look at what randomness they've
Is this
got.
just you or with Katie?
Oh, just me. If I'm out by myself,
Okay.
then I'll squeeze 5 minutes into TK Maxx.
This is it though, right? This is a treat. This is your treat.
This is my treat time to myself. Woo, go me. Look, I'm in TK Maxx.
You're
in the
not going to
kids'
have a spa weekend. I
section.
just get to walk through TK Maxx on my own. Living the dream, Helen.
I'll tell you, I am. My life is just, it's the one. So I'll go to TK Maxx. I might get a couple of pairs for her to try on and then bring them home. If they've not got anything, then I'll start hunting a bit deeper. But yeah, there we go. We'll get some shoes into the house one way or another, and I'll get her to look at them. And she's like, no, don't like them. No, don't like. Oh, those are so pretty. I'm like, oh hell, please fit her.
Oh yeah,
Please.
and it just
I want those ones before she's tried them on. So I've ordered them in 2 sizes to hedge my bet.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to take stuff back, then I might as well take even more back.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll do that.
It's like Cinderella, isn't it? Then at that point,
Yeah,
you're still crouching down, going, please fit.
Please fit. The last time I went to TK Maxx, I actually got 2 pairs of trainers, and one fitted her perfectly. The smaller pair fitted perfectly, and she got really upset at the thought of me taking the second pair back to the shop. So I said, you know what? Sod it. We'll keep them. You'll grow into them.
Totally,
it's fine.
yeah.
She's grown into them.
Yeah, nice work. This is what we do, particularly with Otto, because Otto goes through shoes like nobody's business because he's so like heavy-footed and kind of clumsy, and he plays football, so he just it's like probably a pair of shoes every month or 2 months. It's insane because also he likes to have shoes that aren't too restrictive, right? So Skechers are the shoes that we use. They're amazing, weirdly neurodivergent friendly. I've said it before on this podcast and I'll say it again. I don't know why. They just are nice shoes for neurodivergents to wear. But he goes through them so much that Tam just had this great idea of just fucking buying loads of pairs of them and just like bulk buying. So you open up a wardrobe in our house and it's like a stockroom of a shoe shop. Like, and all just like going up by one size, half a size, just because we know he's going to get through them so quickly. So we can buy online with Otto. We cannot buy online with India or Jay. So you have to then face the process of taking them in, and that is, getting them engaged in that is a flipping nightmare. Because if there's anything out of place, if it's the texture or the seams are too prominent, or it's too small, or if it's too big, or if it's more blue than they were expecting, just like anything.
Try them on.
No, but they will assess them, scrutinize them,
the fabric
to an intense degree. So India, dressing her in cold weather is an absolute nightmare because she doesn't like the feel of stuff, and I look like a terrible parent because she's walking around in a t-shirt in like sub-zero temperatures. So I tried to address this. She won't wear a coat. That's a huge issue. It's been a perennial nightmare for India, where it's the tightness of the coats and the thickness sometimes and the cuffs and like just too many variables that I wouldn't even understand, right? I have tried it where I tried to trick India into thinking about coats. And she knew what I was up to pretty quickly.
He was on to you.
I went to a supermarket, right? But not a normal supermarket, but a bigger supermarket that has a clothing section. And then I pretended that, I appear to be near the clothes. Oh, look, there are some coats over there. Just an observation.
But completely seen through.
I'm using my declarative language. Oh, would you look at that? There are some coats in your size. I'm just going to look over here. And, I was hoping that India might at least have a think about it. She literally ran in the opposite direction. Like she knew, like, I'm on to you, idiot. I'm off. And then she legged it in the opposite direction. It's like, I tried. Yeah. It's very difficult clothing our children, but it's an essential, right?
It is an essential. Now, Katie needs a summer wardrobe, so I've ordered some stuff for her. But I've ended up ordering from like 4 different shops. So I refused to pay delivery for all 4 shops. I mean, I'm like another 20 quid on delivery. That's just stupid.
Yes, yeah.
So, no problem. There's local branches of all these shops in our nearest town. So I'll order them in. Great. Now I've got to collect them, haven't I?
And have you got to take Katie with you?
Oh, yeah. So I tried today to say a couple of them had come in, but she'd gone out this morning with her adult siblings, her 18 and 20-year-old siblings. So they'd gone out on a 2-to-1 ratio. And I said to them, while you're there, would you just call into M&S and pick up the parcel there? So they did that and it was fine. They took her over to Asda, She managed okay. And then I got a message, we're waiting for a bus. She's not doing great. We're just going to get the next available bus as close to home as we can. Can you pick us up?
Oh, God. It's not a great sign.
I mean, before they went, it's a big preparation, isn't it? She had Utu, her favourite stuffed monkey, her jacket, which she's named Fluffy, because it is fluffy, her safe snacks. I sent 20 quid to her brother just in case of emergency, like buy anything that you really need, just buy it. If she's hungry, if she's thirsty, if she's cold, buy her a pair of blinking leggings from H&M. I don't care. You're taking her out. Like, if you need to get an Uber home, just do it. If you need to buy a fidget toy, whatever. Just, here's 20 quid. Just do your best.
May the odds be ever in your favour.
So I was, you can see what you expect before they even leave home by the way you prepare, can't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, she managed this shopping trip and she got some of the stuff, but the rest of it hadn't come in. They walked right next to Blinking Next, didn't they? No, an hour after they come home, the stuff comes into Next. Oh, can I come with you to get it, Mummy? I need it today.
So did you go in with her?
Yeah. So we went. And actually, we aced this, Mark.
Nice. I love it when that happens.
Straight into Next and got the stuff. Well, she and my husband went into Next and got the stuff because, I bumped into a very old friend that I've not seen for ages right outside the shop. So she stopped to chat. And she actually withstood Matt taking her in the shop.
Nice.
So she did that and then she came out and we went back to the car and we came home. And that is the smoothest shopping trip I have ever had with her.
You see?
Ever. I was allowed to talk to my friend and everything.
Maybe she's evolving.
Wow.
Amazing.
Unlike the time that we went to the Trafford Centre, and I think I alluded to that before maybe, but I do feel the need to elaborate because it's quite a...
You need to get it off your chest.
I need to get it off your chest. I need to tell you. I need to tell you because this is about shopping, and this is why you don't take your PDA, sensory, neurodivergent kids off to a great big shopping centre like this idiot. Learn from my mistake.
That is my worst nightmare.
Mine too, now it turns out. So we've been the week before, flush with success. She loved it. She loved the fountains. We didn't really do any shopping. We just went back to the car after we'd seen the nice stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Happy days. So flush with success, the sister says, right, I'd like to take her to choose something from Lush for her birthday. Fine. So we go, and honestly, it was the biggest mistake of my life. We walked the full length of the Trafford Centre from one side all the way to the other, and it was fine. Absolutely fine. I thought we were doing okay. We went into Lush. She loves it because they've got, they get bowls of water out and you can put like some of the bath bombs in they fizz and it's a whole sensory. She can put her hands in it. Not normally a sensory seeker, but she is in Lush. So they did that. It was fine. And she splashed in the fountains and she was skipping along the cracks in the floor, walking into anyone that was in her way. It was all, she was happy.
I mean, this sounds ideal so far.
Yeah, then we get to the furthest point from the car, right at the opposite end of the Trafford Centre. Guess what happens? The dysregulation. Suddenly, as if from nowhere, as if by magic, dysregulation appeared. So there's a Starbucks there. So I was like, right, at least got my daughter with me. Please, would you just go and get the drinks? I'm sat on the edge of some fountain nearby with her rolling across me, flinging herself over me, nearly chucking us both into the fountain. Honestly. So anyway, she had a bit of a rest there. And then we set off back thinking we were doing a bit better. She seemed okay now. Okay. But we had to go in Clark's because I promised her faithfully that we'd look for sandals.
Right. Okay.
And she had a heart set on this specific pair of sandals, but they weren't in her size. But that's okay. I could order them to come into our nearest store. But she expected to pick them up at that store on that day because they've clearly got the sandals there because they're on show in the shop. So we have to negotiate that. And by the time we're done in the shop, honestly, she was being all feral, jumping about and climbing things and jumping off them and seeking proprioceptive input to try and calm herself.
Yeah.
But it wasn't happening. And she was struggling so much. So I just put the sunflower lanyard on. I said to her sister fairly loudly so that staff could hear me, right, we are on safety now. Safety of her, everything and everybody around her. And that is all we concentrate on.
Mm-hmm.
The sister like, right, okay, I get it. And we just sat. And staff kind of came to us once they realised we were like, we've been served, are they all right? And they're coming over. And I kind of look at them until before they got like within about 6 feet of me and they'd stop. I was at this look, they stopped. Are you okay? I was like, and kind of twiddled with the lanyard. I was like, yeah, we just need a little time.
Yeah, just give me some space too.
No problem.
Yeah.
And then another member of staff 5-10 minutes later comes out. Is everything okay? I was like, Yeah, we're good. We'll leave when we can, when we're ready.
We
We're
can.
the yard a bit more.
I don't want to be here any longer than you want us to be here. Just give me a moment.
Half an hour we sat in that damn shop.
Whoa, okay.
Just with her all over the place before she finally just sobbed into me.
Just burnt herself out.
And then we were able to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But then obviously you've got to try and get out the whole blinking shopping centre, haven't you? Thankfully, we're parked just outside John Lewis, and John Lewis have a great big Ray-Ban stand with a load of mirrors, don't they? So we just tried a load of different sunglasses on and made silly faces in the mirrors. That went well.
Gamifying stuff, isn't it? Just gets you that extra little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, so the Ray-Ban stand was fun, and Starbucks got our drinks order right, so, wasn't a complete failure.
But, yeah.
I won't be going again.
Sometimes, right, you do have to get some non-essential items. So it's not just supermarkets, not just clothes shops, but sometimes you have to go in for items that are not food and clothing. And this happened to me when Jay was given a book token for his birthday. Sometimes I like to challenge us both. So it was this idea that it was this targeted thing. We're going to go there, get a book, buy a book, come home, right? And that, in Jay's head, was what we're going to do. And he was on board with it. He liked the idea of it. However, I went off script a little bit, and it was entirely on me.
You get a bit excited.
Right. Because the thing is, right, Jay gets given a book token, and obviously the person giving that gift is thinking, this is a lovely present to give this child, right? But he opens it, and I'm like, oh, God. Oh,
I'm going to
fuck.
give you a meltdown for your birthday.
Oh, this means that I now have to go into a bookshop, which are typically quiet places. I have to go into a bookshop with my neurodivergent child and do shopping. And this was for Waterstones, and Waterstones is right in the middle of town, and the middle of town in Brighton is busy. And so he opens this book token, and the person's obviously very happy with themselves. And it's like a poison chalice to me. It's like, oh, God. Okay. We're going to do it. And he was quite on board with it when I said, well, maybe we can look at, like a manga book or, some kind of Japanese anime book. Like, he's really into that. So he was like, okay, we'll go for this. And obviously we needed to get into the town centre. So I park us in the actual shopping centre itself, which is like...
Park in Waterstones.
No, yeah, literally drove it through the front door. It's like, go, go, go. No, I parked in the shopping centre right next to it. But obviously shopping centres are like so expensive. The parking costs more than the book, to be honest. But I'll pay that money just to get in and out as quickly as possible. So we got in there, and he was grumpy. But in his head, it's like, I'm doing this thing, so I'm going to do this thing, and then I'm going to go. So we found the book that he wanted, but he wouldn't take any suggestions from me because, he's looking around, he's trying to find a book, and it's taken him a while. And I'm sort of going, oh, this looks like a good book because you like everything else by this author, but no. Or what about this? These tick 3 of the things that you're most interested in. No, because I've suggested it.
No.
Exactly. I should have been way better at sort of going, just leaving leave it on the stairs as he's about to go up the stairs so he notices it. Just put it in the way. I didn't do that. But so he's getting slightly overwhelmed by being out in public anyway. This was, to be honest, when he was at the kind of the peak of his burnout, I think. So he was already on, we were on borrowed time from the moment we got in the car. So he's getting really, really angry. But then he found the book and then was like, right, let's go. And it's like, well, I got to pay for it. Otherwise that's shoplifting. He's like, okay, pay for it. Let's go. But then we walked past some other books and it was like, I knew he would be interested in these other books, and I tried to get him involved in that, and he was just like, no, he just lost it, basically. And he called me an idiot and just completely was just so rude to me. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. That's on me. That is on me. I shouldn't have, I should have read The Room. I should have read Sometimes you have to take that hit, right? And just go, you know what? Yeah, I shouldn't have pushed it. And sometimes you have to acknowledge how much they're going through just to be in that space.
Yeah.
Doing that thing. Even though it's for them, it's still a lot. It's a big ask.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to buy the Elsa cup. Sometimes you have to shut up about which book.
Exactly. So I bought the book and we got out of there, and he was furious for a good few hours after that.
So you got a book?
We did. We got the book.
See, Katie would have been, I want this one, but I want this one, but I want this one, but I can't choose.
Okay.
I need them all. I couldn't give a free rein. What I would have to do in that instance with Katie, I think what I'd do is we sometimes go to the library, like you were saying about the library. We sometimes do that, and she borrows books, but then she can't take some of them back. We cannot take them back. She can't part with them.
Right.
So
okay.
I think the current ones we've had for just over a year, and she can't part with them for me to take them back. This is becoming a problem. So we choose the ones that she really, really, really can't part with, and we buy them.
Yeah.
So I think for me it would be right. You've got a book voucher. Do you know which book you really want? You really wanted this book, didn't you? This voucher could pay for that book.
Yeah.
And she's all over it because she already knows she loves that book.
Yeah, I don't think Jay actually read the book in the end. I think he read one page. He was like, I didn't like it. It's like, oh, for God's sake.
It's not all rubbish.
So we'll look at the positives now because, it can be a challenge, but there are positives of shopping for our neurodivergent kids and with our neurodivergent kids. Once I had a properly successful shopping trip with India, right?
Whole trip?
A whole trip.
Wow.
Where it was just me and her. So again, I think that helps. It's almost like the shopping is incidental to the one-on-one time and having fun and just sort of gamifying stuff. And we went there and she needed some new clothes. Because I don't know if yours have this, but they will like an item of clothing so much they will wear it 2 years after they've grown out of it. They'll still be wearing it. And it's like tight and tiny. And we always I do a thing called the tummy test, right? It's like, if you raise your arms above your head and I can see your belly button, it's too small for you now. So I get them to do the tummy test. And if I see their belly button, I give it a little prod. They laugh and I go, nah, it's got to go. So India was way past the tummy test on this particular item of clothing. So it's like, let's go and get some more stuff. And again, it's important that it has to pass the touch test with India. And whereas most kids will look at what things look like, India's only interested in the texture. So he's walking around and just like literally touching everything and just straight away, like it's instant. She could have done that shop blindfold. It would have been as successful because it's not about what it looks like. It's about how it feels. And we found this jumper and she loved it. And she wore that every day for probably at least a year, like winter and summer. Absolutely loved it. Couldn't get enough. And that was really fun. And that was the one success I've had. I mean,
that's fabulous. Though.
And it still lives with me. I'd like to think about it every now and again. I'll get a photo out of the jumper and have a little tear in my eye. The little magical moment we had in Matalan.
But actually, once you've got a clothing like that, so we've found H&M really good for this, and actually M&S as well. They tend to stock the same style of things.
Yes.
Every single year within an age range. So until you top that age range and flip into the next one, actually you can buy the same style, the same fit, the same fabric. Not the same colour fabric, not the same design of fabric, but the same feel.
No, and that's a huge thing, isn't it?
Jersey fabric in this style, and the seams are in these places, which doesn't bother her, and the sleeves are like that, and it fits like this, and it goes on like that, and her arms don't get stuck while she's trying to put it on or off. We can buy as many of those as we like, and she will just get dressed.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Like, and that's another of the positives that I was going to kind of bring out in this is once you've found a thing that works, you can lock that shit down. You can lock that in for years. Like India will wear the same hoodie in the same colour from H&M every single time. And the same with cycling shorts. You could just stockpile that stuff. They're not worried about how they look or whether it's in fashion or it's how it feels and whether it fits.
So you tip past age 7 and then you've got to find your new norm.
And then that becomes an issue, yes, because the jumper, the magical jumper, I tried to get and it went to a certain age range and it was like, oh God, we're back again. But then we transitioned to the hoodie and then it gives me many more options. So when you actually find something that works, the fact that they're not bothered about looking like anyone else or wearing the same thing as anyone else is an absolute joy. And that's the same with food as well, right? When you find a food they like,
you buy it all. You buy the supermarket out in the delivery at the beginning of the month.
This is just,
and you put it in the freezer in the shed.
Exactly. This is just what you eat now. Just strap in, guys. But at least, I think there is a positive to that. There's that element
Yeah,
of
definitely.
predictability and being able and not having
Definitely.
to, you don't have to go through this shit show every single time you do a shop. But, largely, I think shopping for our neurodivergent children is a massive challenge. So,
I try to avoid. Avoiding shopping is a big passion of mine.
yeah, good luck with it. Good luck. I'm not going to eat or wear clothes ever again.
Oh, who needs that?
Exactly.
Neurodiversity Champions.
Okay, so it's Neurodiversity Champions now. These are people or organizations that are doing wonderful things in the realms of neurodiversity. Do you have any Neurodiversity Champions you want to bring to us?
Yes, I do. I have
Awesome.
two
Great.
that are local to us and very personal to us. So there is Lindsay's Swim Academy, which is in Shawnee to Oldham. So for anybody who's round there, or if you have a neurodivergent child that you want taught to swim, Lindsay is your person.
Okay, great.
She's been teaching swimming for over 20 years, and she says she's never encountered anything like teaching Katie.
There's a PDA. There's a particular thing about a PDA in water that is terrifying.
Yeah,
because I can do this. It's like, no, you literally can't. And the consequences of you not being able to do it are death. So
and group lessons cannot be a thing.
Yeah.
Cannot be a thing. It is not safe. It's not okay to even try. So she has one-to-one with Katie, with Lindsay. And she gets in, and honestly, sometimes she gets in that water and she has this thing with water, and it's like sometimes you can just watch the anxiety fall off her shoulders as she gets in.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I want to do an episode. I am going to do an episode on swimming, I think, because I think it's uniquely calming to our kids. The
water, even when she's in the shower as well, as long as she can get her in. And Lindsay, she tries really hard with Katie. She's read the info I've given her about. I gave her the PDA, one-page leaflet about what PDA is.
Okay, nice.
Gave her some ideas of strategies, talked to her about it, said essentially, if you are ever going to get to know Katie, you are going to get it wrong and you are going to trigger her into a big meltdown. I will not feel bad about that. That's just part of getting to know her. If you've never made a mistake, you've never tried.
Yeah.
That's how that is. So she tries, she makes mistakes, and she reevaluates what she's doing. She talks to me about stuff, and she keeps trying and she keeps going. And, most of all, she accepts Katie and she loves her for who she is. And she finds Katie absolutely hysterical. She finds it hilarious. She sees Katie's sense of humour. She's never allowed to suggest anything. She is never allowed to win any races. She is never allowed to do things first. She's never allowed to choose what they do today. So Katie gets in the water and she just says, right, what are we doing today, Katie?
Nice.
And Katie chooses. And I'm not kidding. Since going there, she's been there 12, 18 months, something like that. She can now swim more than 10 metres.
Oh, amazing. Yeah,
she swims underwater better than she does at the surface. And she can do the most beautiful turns underwater. But Lindsay's never taught her any of these skills. She has literally just facilitated Katie being in the water.
Which is perfect. And also huge testament to you for sort of for advocating for Katie as well and saying this is how you need to respond. So like there's that two-way sort of communication where people don't know what we know about our kids. So someone who's being receptive to it and going, okay, this is a challenge and I accept that challenge. Let's see what happens. So it is.
I think she quite likes that difference in a week. One of the really impressive things is that she has made receiving a certificate and a badge during badge week feel okay to Katie.
Wow. Yeah. Who doesn't like praise?
Yeah. So what she does is she says, badge week's coming up, Katie. Did you want to choose a badge that you want to have for badge week? And the other kids are having to, work towards their 5 metres or their 10 metres or their whatever they're doing in badge week to earn their badge. Katie chooses a badge for something she can already do.
Okay, cool.
She doesn't have to perform. So the first time she just got a badge that said, I can swim.
Okay, nice.
A certificate with a name written on it. Katie, your badge is over there. I've left it on the side for when you want it. No big thing of giving it to her, presenting.
That's amazing. Nothing. So someone who just gets it. Yeah, well, that's wonderful. What a great Neurodiversity champion. Thanks for that.
And the other big one for us is we're a Christian family and we go to church. And I know that a lot of people in our position have said they find church very, very difficult. Finding somewhere that can just accept their family for their neurodiversity as they are has been really hard for some people. I know some people have had to leave their churches, and we have found the most accepting, loving, and caring place. It's like everything a church is supposed to be. They just accept us. They don't judge us. That anything. Is Nelson Street Church in Rochdale. I head up the kitchen sort of side of things there, and they let me just do that in my own way and get on with that in my own way. They know that that's a release for me. It's a space where I'm
Awesome.
not caring for Katie. It's a space where I'm doing what I love to be doing. I'm speaking to people, I'm helping people, I'm making people bruise and chatting with them and smiling at them and making people laugh. And then Katie calls it her safe place. She says herself,
Oh,
I've
wow.
not said this to her, but she says, church is my safe place.
Oh, that's lovely. So that's obviously just a hugely welcoming environment.
She's had some of the biggest meltdowns she's ever had in that building. Hot chocolates have flown across the room, furniture's flown, and staff look around, they see it's her, and they turn away and just mind their own business. The only thing they ever say to me is across the room, do you need more coffee? I'm like, yes, but give me 5 minutes, which means don't approach right now,
Yeah.
danger.
Yeah.
But then when they do approach with a coffee, they'll take the long route so as not to go around Katie, so as not to panic her.
Yeah, which is lovely
You know,
because,
it's
again,
even-
I'm guessing that they're much more familiar with neurotypicals.
Yeah, we've got quite a chunk of neurodiverse kids.
Well, obviously, now you've advertised that you can have more.
Bring it on, bring your PDAs, you know all about it. There's someone there who one of the grandparents there, and she's a lovely friend of ours. And we didn't know before we went to this church, and she has been on the PDA summit 2 years in a run to just try and learn more about what she can do to help and how she can understand us.
Yeah, which is wonderful. Like both of the Neurodiversity Champions that you've mentioned today are just people who are educating themselves about what they can do to accommodate our neurodifferent people. Wonderful.
Tiny epic wins.
Okay, it's the tiny epic wins now. These are the moments that for parents of neurotypical families, it would be no real big deal. But for us, they are tiny epic wins. Have you got any tiny epic wins for us, Helen?
I've got a shopping tiny epic.
Oh, nice. I've got it as well. Oh, good. I love you keeping it topical. That's great.
So very recently, obviously, the nicer weather's come in. Katie needed new sandals. She tried wearing last year's and they bothered her feet and caused her a blister. So she agreed to go shopping. So we went shopping for these sandals, and we went in this one shop. She saw a pair that she loved. She chose them. She tried them on. They fitted.
Yes.
I asked her about the other pair that she'd looked at that she was interested in. She tried them on and said they don't feel as nice as the others. We bought that pair and we walked out of that shop.
Shitting hell. That's a huge win.
I could not believe it.
That is exactly what Tiny Epic Wins is about, right? That is an experience that parents of neurotypical kids just have. That is their experience, right? But for you, and knowing everything that you've been through, particularly your previous sandal shopping experience, which has traumatized me just from hearing it, right? The fact that, she just walked in, went, those, tried them on, went, done.
She wears them every day. She actually wears shoes at the moment because she's got these sandals.
Amazing.
Stunning stuff.
Yeah, that is incredible. I'll celebrate that. I've got a similar one where I finally got Jay in trainers. Right? He's never been one for trainers. Again, he's had an issue with... I find that the more dysregulated he is, the more difficult it is to find footwear that works for him. I've noticed this, and I noticed this when he used to go to school, and getting shoes on in the morning was a massive deal. And I think that now he's emerging from burnout and he's becoming a little bit more comfortable about going into school. He's a little bit more open to wearing something a little less, a bit less eccentric, let's put it that way. Because he's always really only worn Crocs or slip-ons and not been interested in anything sort of more shoe-like, if you like.
Yeah.
And he wore these slip-on shoes for ages, and then he got a tiny hole in one, and he was like, right, no, I can't wear these anymore. It's like, I mean, it's just a little hole, it's fine. It's like, no, that is it. It's like, so he absolutely wouldn't accept wearing those again. So I thought, oh, we're doing all this again. But I thought I'd try him by showing him a bunch of shoes online and I found some that I thought would look quite cool. I didn't say that, obviously, but I was like, oh, look, this has an air bubble in the sole. Maybe that's interesting. Yeah. And he was like, yes, that looks great. Ordered them, got them in the size that he was supposed to be, tried them on, liked them, wears them.
Wow.
That's it. Just wears them now. It's just a thing. So he's got footwear that make him look like just quite a cool little kid. As opposed to some little weirdo with slip-ons.
That's quite a massive thing.
It's huge. And I don't know if it's because of the way I'd sold them or whatever, but also, you know, the fact I ordered it online and they fit straight away. So that is a huge win.
What the flip?
Right, so what the flip moments now? These are the moments where your child will do or say something that is absolutely astonishingly confusing, and you just end up sort of shrugging and walking off, a bit bamboozled. Do you have any what the flip moments for us, Helen?
Do I? Honestly, Katie is full of them.
I love it.
Hilarious. She makes me laugh so much. So they bumped into her best friend's dad, who's also one of the pastors at our church. They bumped into him in the swimming pool recently when Matt had taken a swim. And she'd been teasing him, splashing him. When I say splashing him, in proper deluging him and really, really being quite rough around him. And at the end, before he got out, he's like, right, I've got to go. And he grabbed hold of the swimming noodle that was round her and pulled her towards him. And her face, and he stopped, and she just leaned towards him and went, if you do that again, I'll bite you.
I mean, she's been very clear.
He said, at least she was honest. He said, I just turned to her and I went, oh, I know, you actually will as well.
I've got a couple of what the flip moments. One from India recently, whose PDA is, you know, really blossoming at the moment. I said, India, can you eat your cereal, please? And she went, apologies, but no. And I went, why not? And she went, because no. And that was it. Then no further questions. It was just like, I think I've been clear on this point.
Honestly, it's purest form.
Yeah. She was very polite about it and very, you know, so smiling, but it was like, no, just no. No. Fair enough. Okay. Shut me down. The other one is Jay, which is just a typical where is your mind? Where is this from? He was just like absently said to Tam, my mind is like a beeswax polished coconut.
Oh.
And Tam went, what does that mean? He went, that I have a good mind. Like, of course, that I have a good mind. Right, okay. I mean, I would think that
of course it means that.
Polished coconut would mean the opposite of that, but what do I know? Yeah, no, I'm sure Tam didn't really want to push it. Just texting me the nonsense. That is the end of this episode of Neuroshambles. Helen, thank you so much for reaching out to Neuroshambles and sharing your neuroshambolic lifestyle, and also for coming on and chatting to me about it, because it's been an absolute treat. So thanks for that. If anyone at home fancies emailing us and saying hello, it is appropriately hello@neuroshambles.com, or you can follow us on the socials. We're on Instagram and Facebook and Threads and also TikTok, so yeah, feel free to catch up with us on there. If you want to find out a little bit more about Helen's new business, it's called Thrive Together Training, and they deliver Ofqual regulated first aid courses in Littleborough, Greater Manchester. I'll put a link to all of that in the show notes so that you can support them if you're looking for that kind of thing. Other than that, I think all that remains for me to say is have a nice life.